welcome everybody. First of all, thank you so much for joining. For everybody that doesn't know me, which is probably most of you, I'm Irina. I'm part of the Get Your Guide team, especially the Get Your Guide travel creator communities team. I joined recently and I'm very excited to be part of it and help Get Your Guide grow it and especially bring opportunities to you guys. We started this community to help you grow as a creator, to monetize, to access new opportunities, to find better collaborations between us at Get Your Guide as well, to meet other creators, and also to access learning opportunities. Hence why we're all here. This workshop is part of a workshop series that we do. So we do 2 quarterly, and we invite experienced creators to share their know-how around different types of topics. And yeah, so I'm excited to have you all here, and I hope that this is going to be an enjoyable experience and that you'll get a lot of value out of it. So yeah, this time we invited Laura and Patrik to join us. They are experienced creators. They're travel bloggers and have grown an Instagram account as well, pretty successfully. They have amazing content there, so you guys should definitely check it out. And parallelly to being creators, they also have full-time jobs. So they, Laura is an HR, Patrik is an engineer, and they've managed to figure out a system to travel, do content, and still keep their, maybe it's sort of like a full-time side job, however you want to put it. But yeah, I'm excited to kind of hear your tips around how to be a creator, but still kind of maintaining your job, and also, you know, understand a bit more how you manage, you know, building your creator careers. So I'll pass on the stage to Laura and Patrik in just a second. What I am gonna kind of point out is, because we're quite a big group, it'll be a bit difficult to let everybody speak. So if you have any questions throughout the whole workshop, please add them in the chat where you're currently also writing at. And then at the end, we'll leave some time for a Q&A. I'll read out all the questions that you have to Laura and Patrik, and we'll try to go through as many of them as we have time. And of course, I mean, we're all part of a community, so we'll get other opportunities to still exchange on questions if you have any afterwards too. So yeah, please pop as many in there. And yeah, now I'll pass on the mic to Laura and Patrik, and enjoy, everybody.
Thank you so much, Irina, for the introduction. And thank you so much and welcome everyone. And thanks for taking the time today out of your day to join us in this workshop. We're really excited, and I think we're going to share this screen. Or
yeah, I can share it now.
Okay, cool. So just so you know, I will do the talking today, or most of it, and Patrik will make sure that everything's working on the technical part, and then we both will answer questions, and we made sure that we have enough time to answer all of your questions. So what's the topic today? We would like to discuss how to build a content creation business while still working a 9-to-5 job. This is something we're very familiar with, as it's exactly what we do. And we understand that many of you are in a similar position, balancing content creation with your regular day job. And we would like to address 2 of the biggest challenges faced by people like you and us who juggle a 9-to-5 job and content creation in the travel niche. So it's specifically about the travel niche. Okay, perhaps just a little bit about us. So you know who's talking to you today. Yeah, we're Laura and Patrik, travel content creators and bloggers from Germany. And we started our account, our travel treats, at the beginning of 2022. So basically 2 years ago to this day. And our travel blog was launched just last year in August. So it's relatively fresh. And initially, our goal with content creation and our Instagram was to become digital nomads and go on a world trip. That was the ultimate dream, especially of me. I don't think it was your dream.
Not initially.
No, it wasn't. But you were open to it, to try it, and to come with me. So we started the account, and we have to say social media played a big role in this idea of the world trip, because I kept seeing full-time travelers living the dream life. And I thought to myself, we love traveling. I'm good at planning trips. Patrik's good at getting into technical details, building a blog, etc. So why can't we do the same? And so we started our travel treats, and to grow our account, we really prioritized weekend travel and used all of our annual leave to travel. We never stayed home because we needed to create content. I'm sure you, you know this feeling. And then around late summer last year, we finally set a date for the world trip. We crafted a budget plan and we started saving and listed down all of the places we want to visit. But something changed after making this decision. We really had a tough time. Neither of us felt excited about the idea of traveling the world or even sharing it with our friends or on social media. So it was very hard for us to let go of that dream. But eventually we came to realize that it was not our dream anymore. We found that we actually love coming home after a trip and spending time with our friends and our family. And we realized we need a little bit more time to reflect on our travels. Even going on one trip a month sometimes felt like too much. So we couldn't see ourselves going on a world trip anymore. So then we completely changed our approach to traveling and also our target audience on Instagram. And that's when, something amazing happened, because suddenly we reached a lot of people on Instagram. And now we have a community of over 400,000 followers on Instagram who aren't necessarily looking to become digital nomads or go on a world trip, but still love exploring new places, just like us. And we provide them with travel guides to make their trips smoother and less stressful, because we know that our time is precious. And that's a little bit about us. Okay. So what's on the agenda for the next couple of minutes for this workshop? We are diving into the major challenges within the travel niche that you're likely facing as well. We'll talk about time management for traveling, but also for content creation. And we'll give you a few insights into how we plan and prepare for trips and make the most of our weekends for content creation and going on those trips. We give you tips and tools on planning ahead to avoid feeling overwhelmed when returning from a weekend trip and heading back to work on Monday. I'm sure you can relate to this, because traveling is one thing, but then creating content requires a lot of time. That's why we'll also share our current posting schedule and guide you on setting realistic goals, because we've been there and we've been feeling the pressure of unrealistic expectations and struggling to keep it up. And of course, there will be room to ask questions. So like Irina mentioned, write everything down and then we can answer them in the end. Okay, so let's kick things off by talking about the main challenges. We know that everyone's situation is unique. So if you have extra challenges to overcome that we don't mention, feel free to share your questions again with us at the end of the workshop, or even drop us a message on Instagram. We're, just like Irina put it, a community, and we'd be happy to help you after the workshop as well. I think we can all agree that one major issue is finding the time to travel. When you work a regular job, it's tough to squeeze in trips between work days and weekends off. Plus, making content during and after your travels eats up a lot of time. And many of you probably know the feeling of being overwhelmed with so much to do and not enough hours in the day. Money can be another challenge. Unlike full-time travelers, we still have bills to pay back home while being on our trips. And you might not be where you want to be, where every trip is sponsored or a paid job. Perhaps this is your goal, but you're probably not where you want to be right now. And then, of course, let's not forget about making money from your content. It's a big goal for many of us, just like I mentioned a second before. And it can be very tricky when you're balancing a job and your side job, and everything seems to go very slowly. And today we are tackling 2 out of the 4 main challenges here. But again, feel free to ask questions in the end on the other topics as well. But we decided to go a little bit deeper into those two and give you value for those. And exactly, and then answer questions. Okay, let's talk about fitting your content trips around your 9-to-5 jobs. We believe that these 9 aspects that you can see here are the main ways to create more time for your trips and can make a huge difference in your time management. This is exactly what we do, and these 9 things are the main reason why we're able to create content consistently and constantly and go traveling as much as we do. So our first tip to go into this a little bit more in deep detail is to strategically plan your content trips. This means making the most of your vacation days, which can vary, of course, depending on your job and location and employer. In Germany here, for example, Patrik and I each get 30 days off per year. That's quite a lot for a few of you, I think. But it wasn't always this way. 2 years ago, I made the decision to switch jobs to gain more vacation days because we wanted to prioritize travel in our lives again. And this job change sounds easy when I tell you about it now, but it was very difficult. It required moving, was a tough time for us as a couple, but we now have those precious 30 days per year. I also make sure that I can use my overtime with my current employer that allows us to save up extra hours and use them for additional days off for traveling. I'm not sure if you are able to do this at the moment. And I don't say, or I don't mean that you have to go as far as quitting your job or moving. But if you're very serious about travel content creation and building this creation business as a side job, and you're not quite ready to commit to it full time, it's worth considering if your current job situation is the right fit for you. And then what we find really important is that you really use all of your vacation days for traveling. We know that there may be times when you feel stressed and everything is a little bit much and you would like to stay home to decompress. That's completely normal. We do feel this from time to time. But in the end, we found that we would have needed these days for travel and also for creating content. Of course, also because we love exploring new places. But traveling more, creating more content will need all the time you can get. So now we prioritize using all of our vacation days for traveling and then find other ways to relax and unwind during weekends or in the evening. Okay, cool. So another trick we use is planning our content trips around public holidays in Germany. Sure, we can take off every holiday because we work in teams and need to consider everyone's needs, but we take all the days we can and then go from there. I'm pretty sure that you feel similar, otherwise you wouldn't be here today, because time really is the most crucial thing. And therefore we're using a holiday planner that we created for Germany, but also for the UK, the US, Canada, and Australia. And you can use this tool yourself if you like, and then figure out the best vacation times around national holidays. In the planner, we give a few examples how to plan your trips, where to go, what to do. It's part of our guide, how to travel more around your job. But we'll talk about this later and you can check it out after the workshop. So really make sure to know when are the public holidays and try to extend your vacation days. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about why it's so important to plan your content trips in detail and well in advance, because that's another crucial thing to make the most of your time. I'm sure you all know this, but traveling as a content creator isn't quite the same as taking a regular vacation. And we don't think you should approach it as a regular vacation. Yeah, of course, it's important that you strike a balance and enjoy these experiences. But to be honest, we wouldn't have seen the growth we've experienced over the last 2 years if we hadn't carefully planned each content trip in advance. And this means considering factors like our limited time, the places we want to visit, the tips we want to give our community, then things like weather, managing crowds, lighting, booking tickets ahead. all of that while staying within our budget. So all of these elements require thoughtful planning. This just is, it's very hard to do this when you just wing a trip. So don't underestimate the power of planning. It will help you make more and better content on your trips, and you grow your online presence faster. So now you can see a basic checklist for each trip. We keep things very simple. These are just the steps that are the most important ones, most crucial ones. Although there are other smaller ones too. Yeah. So we always make sure to have our travel itinerary sorted out. So we know where to go, what to do, and what to see. We pre-book activities that we want to showcase to our audience and where we plan to shoot content. And to ensure we can do this effectively, we prepare specific content ideas for reels and posts and sometimes even stories before each trip. This way, we really have a clear idea of the content we want to capture for each place we visit. So our suggestion is to start researching content ideas as you create your travel itinerary. Yeah, you can do both simultaneously and use tools like OneNote or Google Sheets or Notion or just your notes on your phone. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just make sure you jot down your ideas, including hooks, if needed, a script. Otherwise, you might find yourself a little bit frustrated during or after the trip when you realize you're missing a crucial content or piece of content and you can't go back to the place. We've been there, and it's really sad when this happens, because it's not a great feeling to feel frustrated about something like that, and you can avoid it. And it took us a while to realize how important this step really is. So we're going to show you an example of the content ideas list I created for Scotland, for example. As you can see, it's super simple. It's just a screenshot of notes. I've noted down various ideas or hook ideas, and we don't always end up creating all of this content because we need to be flexible with factors like crowds again, or lighting, or weather, especially in Scotland, or personal preferences. So if you don't enjoy a place as much as we expected, we won't highlight it in our content. But having a list like this gives us a starting point and ensures we have something to work with. Yeah, so if you're not doing this at the moment, this might be worth trying to research content ideas, specific content ideas before the trip. And then here's a glimpse of our travel itinerary for Scotland. It's very simple again and straightforward. It's just a PDF document. We make sure we have all the places we want to visit in a day in here. We have our driving times, accommodations, parking availability, any permits needed, anything that saves us time while we're traveling. And then I also include photos of places I like, which serve as a reference for my own or our own photos and videos, along with specific content ideas tailored to each location. And we prefer to keep it that way, actually, for larger trips in a simple Word document, because we have all the information in here. And there are a few apps and tools that you could also try if you don't like to use a PDF document. That's just the way that we like to do it. But if you would like to try a few apps, these are a few recommendations: Wanderlog, for example, or Lambus. These help you to create a travel itinerary, and it's it's very nice looking, actually. So it's worth a try. But our advice is to keep it as simple as possible, because don't try to spend too much time organizing the itinerary. Instead, focus on putting the trip together, booking your activities ahead, and then finding content ideas. This is what you should focus about, in our opinion. Okay, so let's discuss how to make the most of your weekends, because weekends are such a great opportunity to explore and create content, especially when you don't have the time or resources for a longer trip. This is how we started. We mostly went on weekend trips, and we understand that not everyone has weekends off due to various work schedules, but you can still try to implement some of the tips we are about to share, and then adapt them to your situation. this is what it's all about. It's all about finding what works best for you and adapting tips that you find to your circumstances. Okay. So it's easy to feel like weekend trips are not worth the hassle, or to feel like there's not enough time to explore and create content. Perhaps you can take a moment and ask yourself what's really holding you back from weekend trips more. You could note it down, whatever comes to your mind at the moment, because then you can revisit it later and look at this and see if you can take immediate actions to overcome those struggles. Because weekend trips are one of the key factors to use the time that you have when balancing a job and building the content creation business as a side job. And when we ask our community these questions, here are some of their concerns we hear all the time. Perhaps some of those are relatable or sound familiar. For example, the thought of returning home late on a Sunday and facing a long week at work, or feeling like the places they want to visit are too far away or even not interesting enough for the community. Or another thing is that it's hard to convincing your partner or your content partner because they think a weekend is not worth it. So there are many, many things like this, like being too tired during the trip to enjoy, not knowing where to go, etc. And we think all of these concerns are valid, but they're also limiting beliefs that can be overcome. And by overcoming them, you'll not only find more time to create content, you can grow your account quicker. And then you can attract clients more easily when you grow your following or get more specific in your niche, etc. So let's look into one limiting belief. The idea that the travel destinations your audience are interested in are too far away. So this is something that we used to believe all the time, and we try to make our trips very special and expensive. But remember that great content is not about the destination. It's always about the content itself and often the hook. So just try to shake off this belief. You don't need to go on a grand, expensive trip to reach people. Instead, focus on providing value, and essentially all destinations can bring value to your community. No matter how unsexy the destination seems in the beginning, there can be great value in it. So try and shift your mindset and explore more local destinations for weekend getaways. Be open to less popular destinations. You can simply check Google Maps, see what destinations are close to you, or use Pinterest, Instagram, of course, and find places near your home. And when you're considering taking a plane, explore options like Google Flights or Skyscanner to find affordable flights. There's usually an affordable flight out there, but of course it has to fit your schedule. Flying for a weekend might not always be ideal, but if you find a reasonably priced flight with convenient times, for example, leaving on Friday after work and then returning home on Sunday evening, or perhaps you can take off one extra day, then it can be a great way to create a lot of content during those 2, 3, or 4 days. Just as an example, this was our first content trip over a weekend ever. And we took a plane from Germany to Fuerteventura from Friday to Monday. I believe that we had Monday off. Mm. And we took so much content. It felt like we spent weeks at this place because it was very well planned. And we get to see many, many places. And it was a great start for our Instagram. So just as an example. Okay. So before we break down our planning process for a weekend content trip, just know that we have more practical tips for all of those limiting beliefs that we showed you in our guide. Of course, we can't go into every limiting belief in this workshop today, but if you're interested in this, you can check your email later and then see if this is something you would like to read into. Okay, so this is a quick breakdown of how we plan a weekend content trip from start to finish. So perhaps you can incorporate some of those ideas into your own planning process and then make better use of your time and money. Step 1 always starts with gathering all information in one document. This is crucial for us to have everything in one place and easily accessible. We include details such as the destination, of course, the trip dates, number of travelers, mode of transportation, arrival and departure date, and total budget. I personally used Google Sheets here in this scenario. Next, we start researching. We research various categories without any particular order, such as things to do and see, unique activities, restaurants and cafes, day trips from the city, places to stay, transportation options, so everything there is. And then we compile all of this information into a list to have it ready when putting together the actual daily itinerary. It's very essential in this step to limit your research time, in our opinion, because it's easy to get lost in endless researching. So set a time limit, and personally, that helps us stay focused and get to the next step, which is researching content ideas. You can do this simultaneously with step 2. And you've already seen how I organize these ideas. It's really simple. Just I write down my ideas in notes, hook ideas, content ideas. When, of course, when I see an Instagram video that I like and that I could adapt to our niche, then I save this in Instagram itself. Then step 4 is pinning all the places we want to visit to maps or My Maps. We categorize usually in 3 categories: places to visit, restaurants, and cafes. It depends a little bit on the destination we're visiting. But this helps us visualize our itinerary and plan our routes efficiently. So step number 5 is finding a hotel and transportation options that fit your budget. Most likely, we already found a few ideas and noted them down in the researching section, so we can go back to this and have the link to the website, etc. Don't go back to this. It was just me explaining. And when planning a content trip within a city, I'm not sure about you, but when we visit a city for the first time, we typically plan to explore the main sites along with a few lesser known attractions, and we spend minimal time at the hotel. So in this case, we opt for a centrally located hotel that falls within the lower end of our budget range. And we always try to take advantage of bonus points whenever possible. I think you're too far away. No, go back a little bit. Yeah. We always use bonus points whenever we can. I'm sure you know about this, but hotels.com or booking.com offer their own bonus programs. But we also check other platforms like Secret Escapes or Voyage Privé. They have really great limited, they have really great offers for last minute weekend trips or even full package deals. So then it's time to prioritize our activities. If you're anything like us or me, you've probably found more things to do and see than you can fit into your weekend. But instead of trying to cram everything in, we learned it's better to go through the list again and prioritize the things we want to do and see and ensure they align with our niche and audience. Now, we make sure we can create posts with this content, with these activities that will likely perform well because similar posts have done well in the past. So this is something to consider when you prioritize your activities. And then it's time to create your daily itinerary and book all the activities ahead. We use the pinned places on maps to decide the order of the places to visit. And when booking through GetYourGuide, for example, the flexibility is what's really great. So if the plan changes or you're not feeling up to the initial plan, we can adjust without feeling limited, because that's a concern most people have when seeing our way of planning a trip, that it's a little bit limiting in their choices. So we mentioned earlier that for larger trips, we prefer using a Word document. However, for weekend trips, especially city breaks, we started creating our own clickable itinerary that we keep on our phones. We can show you a video just to see what it looks like. Are you still awake?
Yeah.
Okay, Patrik. This is an itinerary we like to use because we have everything in one place. We have links to website, ticket stores, and apps for public transportation. And we also have added photos of the places. So we can customize this itinerary for each trip if we want to. This has been really handy especially for city trips, because we usually do a lot in a city, do many different activities, etc. And you'll receive this clickable itinerary in case you want to customize it yourself after the workshop. Okay. So now that you've seen how we plan a content trip, let's address another stress factor or potential stress factor, the thought of returning to work on Monday after a weekend content trip. We know this can be stressful. And to make coming home and going back to work smoother, we don't just plan the trip itself, we also plan the week leading up to it to ensure coming home is as stress-free as possible. So we rely on a digital planner that we created ourselves, specifically designed to help us make the most of our weekends. We couldn't find a planner that suited our needs, so we took matters into our own hands and crafted this one. And we use it on our iPads or phones to organize our tasks. We will show you a quick video how we use it. I'm not sure if you know GoodNotes or Notability, but if you have an iPad, I'm pretty sure this is something that you're already using. And this planner helps us to prioritize the chores that we typically do on weekends and spread them out across the weekdays leading up to the trip. Yeah. This includes prepping our home before departure. For example, we try to clean the apartment before a weekend trip, like to change bed sheets, of course, take out the trash, clean the coffee making machine. We prepare our work bag for Monday and have it ready. We make sure that we have easy to prepare food in the freezer for Monday. And using the planner helps us stay organized and dividing tasks. And I also use it, as you just can see, to create vision boards because they help me finding photos that I like for content creation, but also get excited and stay focused, etc. So another thing perhaps that is worth to mention is give yourselves a break sometimes. After all, what's the worst thing that could happen if your home isn't spotless for a weekend, for example? Yeah, you will gain so much out of this weekend trip, and the shift in mindset helps us enjoy the trip without unnecessary stress. Yeah. And then we also have a page where we can reflect on the weekend trip and figure out what went well, what didn't go well, what should we improve for the next content trip. And on the left side, you can see how we create or use the weekly planner and then prioritize our chores. Okay. I think we're going on to the next challenge, a bit behind schedule. So this one is about making more time to create the content. Here are a few key factors we believe are important for carving out more time to create content. So first off, understanding your why is crucial. There will be moments when all the planning in the world won't ease your stress, or despite your best efforts, you still feel overwhelmed. And that's when you need to lean on your why. Why do you want to be a creator? Why do you want to grow your Instagram? Is it about making money? Is it about building a business around your passion, traveling for free? There are so many reasons. And our own why has shifted over time. Initially, we started this to travel full time or travel for free. But now it's more about helping others to travel more while still maintaining stability in our home life and explore new places on our own, of course. It's very essential that you keep enjoying content. That's another important aspect. So content should be enjoyable for you. It should be part of your why. Otherwise, it's nearly impossible to push through the rough patches that are inevitable. We have a few questions listed down here that you can go through after the workshop if you're struggling with knowing your why. These questions focus on your personal goals and what excites you about content creation. So take your time if you haven't done this before, and jot down your answers and see if your why becomes clearer for you. Okay. Another crucial aspect when you're struggling to find time for content creation is setting realistic goals. We often see people who have a job and are trying to grow their Instagram, feeling overwhelmed because they feel like they're not accomplishing enough. And in these situations, it's important to take a step back and reassess your goals. Are they achievable given your current circumstances and available time? So this could be a workshop in itself, setting goals. We're just gonna break it down quickly. Your goals should always align with your vision. For instance, if your vision is to become the top blogger for solo traveling, your goals should aim to bring you closer to that by focusing on your blog. And if your aim is to quit your job and earn a living through content creation, your goals should bring you closer to monetizing your content. And when setting your goals, try to establish both long-term goals and short-term goals. Long-term goals should align with your vision and bring you closer to your why. For example, this could be something like growing your community to 100K followers within the next 5 years, or generating 5K in monthly revenue by the end of 2024. Yeah, so these goals provide a clear direction and guide your efforts towards achieving your vision. And when setting short-term goals, ensure they align with your long-term goals. So you may have heard of the SMART method for goal setting. That's a very popular or common method. And here's how it works with an example. So let's say you want to grow your blog. First, make it specific. It's not enough to simply want to grow your blog. You need to define exactly how you plan to do so and what it means to grow your blog. For example, you could aim to increase traffic by publishing 4 high-quality blog posts per month. Then make it measurable. Specify what success looks like. In this case, you might aim for a 5% increase in traffic. And then ensure it's attainable. So consider your past growth and set a goal that's challenging but realistic. For example, if your blog has been growing by about 3% each month, aiming for a 5% increase seems achievable. Make sure it's relevant to your overall objectives. So in this case, driving more traffic to your blog will help raise brand awareness and attract tourism boards, aligning with your broader goals of becoming an expert, for example, in solo traveling or any niche that you picked. And then finally, make it time bound. Set a deadline to achieve your goals. For instance, aim to achieve the 5% increase in traffic by the end of October 2024. Yeah, so by following the SMART method, you can ensure your goals are well defined and actionable and setting yourself up for success. So then, okay, yeah, thank you. Now, let's talk about how to actually stay consistent when you have a lot going on in your day and try to keep your Instagram page running at the same page. To make your posting schedule practical and consistent, start by assessing how many days per week you can realistically dedicate to editing and posting in the long run. You don't have to aim for daily posts. You really don't have to post daily. We initially tried that, but soon realized it wasn't sustainable. And then we were scaling back to 3 to 4 times a week, which was much more manageable for us. Because editing and posting is just one part. You also need time to engage with your community, answer questions, and respond to comments. So if you have, or just an idea that we're about to give you, if you have fewer than 5K followers, it might be a good idea to focus on consistency and quantity rather than quality, because during this time, It's about finding your style and improving your content over time. And you simply need practice for that. So we have 2 videos. We're just going to show you the first one. This is due to the timing. This is a piece of content we posted 1 year after we started our account. It's not really engaging. It's not really great, but it's just because we needed practice. And you can just show the other one and then just the first few seconds. This is a piece of content that we posted a couple of days ago, I think. So I hope that you agree that this looks a little bit better and more engaging and interesting. But this is only possible when you do the practice a lot and just do the content, create the content. Okay, so here's a peek at our goals and our schedule for March to make it a little bit more practical. At the moment, we're trying to post 3 times a week, along with writing 2 blog posts per month. And then our goal is to squeeze in 1 trip per month. This is not always possible, but that's the goal. We continue pitching to brands monthly and land 2 new collaborations. That is our goal for March. And we keep track of all of these plans in our digital planner. We already showed you this one. This is the monthly overview. And there you can see I added little stickers where I plan to post. Exactly. So personally, just to address this topic, I found that batching content more than 1 week in advance doesn't really work for me. I know some creators plan a whole month of content, and I tried it, but I realized it takes away the joy of creating for me. I'd rather spread out the content creation and do 3 reels a week or 3 posts a week for the next week. But just try different things and try to see what works for you. This is what it's all about, and it can evolve and change over time. So after mapping out everything in the planner here, including travel dates and other tasks, I switched over to Notion to write captions, hooks, and schedule the posts. There are other tools that you could try, like Metricool. I've wrote it down in the green box. This is an authorized tool by IG, my Instagram. But I found personally that the combination of our planner and Notion fits best with my workflow. Just choose again what works for you, and try to limit your time for organizing your content. You want to use your time for actually creating the content, not for organizing it. So I'm going to show you a quick tour of how I use Notion to manage our content calendar. I've customized a template where I can see all our posts, the types, statuses, and more. So this is what it looks like. This is where you can change the type of content, for example. And you can easily add new posts here in the calendar overview. This is where I write down the title or hook of the video. And then I choose the category. This is going to be a video, a travel tip. And the platform, the date, and also the type of content. This is going to be a reel. And yeah, it's super simple. I can add the caption in here, and I have access to it on the phone as well. And then I can just copy the caption from Notion and put it in Instagram. Yeah, so you can just see a few things that you can do. This could be an option if you like to keep it very simple. The content calendar that I use can be found when you Google content plan Notion, and then you just choose this one here, and basically it brings you to Notion. You create a free account and then you can customize it, but it's very similar to the one that you just saw. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Yeah. This is what my posting schedule used to look like in Notes before I used Notion. Yeah, this is super simple. If you don't want to look into a tool, this could be an option, but I'd rather use Notion, to be honest. It's a little bit easier. Okay, and then we have a few slides left. So to talk about a few other things that help you maintain consistency, especially when it gets very busy. Number one is keep a content bank. Whenever you come across content ideas while scrolling through Instagram or doing your travel, save them in Instagram and write down the hook ideas. I just use notes for this because when I'm scrolling while I'm waiting at the doctor or etc., then I can just put it in notes. And this way you'll always have a few ideas to use when you need them, a few hook ideas that you can adapt to your niche. We already talked about number 2, setting realistic goals when it comes to posting frequencies. And we also talked about number 3, try and plan your content at least a week in advance. And if it helps you, perhaps try to plan an entire month. This is just not working for us, but try it. It's good to try everything. Stick to a theme. So maintain the look for your content on Instagram by sticking to a specific theme and fonts and styles and reel covers. This is not only to make your Instagram feed visually appealing, it also reduces the pressure to come up with new ideas constantly. It's not necessary. Then, of course, engage with your audience regularly, but limit your time for that. You don't have to do this for several hours. Try in half an hour or 1 hour every day. Of course, keep an eye on your analytics, monitor your analytics to understand what type of content resonates with your audience, and then do what works. Yeah, so this will definitely save time for you if you do what really works for your audience. And try not to get too caught up in the numbers. Focus on providing value. We all have reels that don't perform well or posts that don't perform well. That's normal. Just try to use it as a learning and then keep going. Number 7 is a big one. When you're short on time, repurposing content is such a game changer. We do this all the time. So consider reposting content that has performed well in the past. And you can also experiment with different hooks or images to keep it fresh, or to repurpose content that you like but didn't perform as well as you expected it to be or to perform. Perhaps the hook was too weak, so just try to change the hook or the caption. Of course, adapt to changes. You know, Instagram is coming up with new things every week, but also don't forget to take breaks. It's super essential to prioritize your mental health and avoid burnout. So give yourself permission to take breaks when needed. Instagram will still be there when you come back. And you can also plan them in advance to ensure that you come back feeling fresh and inspired. So we have just a little gentle reminder for you. We have to remind ourselves too, but that's super important. Okay. So before we jump into the Q&A, just let me quickly fill you in what you'll receive after the workshop through email from Irina. You'll get a link to a landing page where you can grab the planner, the weekend planner, and also the weekend itinerary template for around 10 euros. That's an exclusive offer we thought would be nice for you for the next 24 hours. And if you're eager for more, if you want a full guide on how to travel more with your job, we have our full guide for this. We go into detail how we plan a full trip from start to finish, give you templates for your itinerary, give you a budget tracker to stay within budget, make more of your money, give you lots of budgeting tips, also a really handy spreadsheet to always find affordable destinations. And of course, you get the digital plan and weekend trip itinerary as well, and can get it as a bundle or by itself. So that's the offer that we hope you're interested in. Let us know if you have any questions about that. And now for the question part, just a reminder, feel free to ask about everything, not just about the 2 topics we discussed today, please. Yeah. But also about the challenges that you might have, or about how to set up your account for getting paid collabs. We'd be happy to answer everything. We have a few backup slides in case they fit your questions. Okay, thank you very much. I think we're a little bit behind schedule, but I hope that's
okay. Yeah, we have 10 minutes, so we're going to try and answer as many of the questions that you guys have. I can see some of it is also repeating. So maybe we start with the one that a lot of you are also very interested in. So thank you, first of all, Laura and Patrik. Can you please share a bit with us, like, how do you approach brands? How do you create brand collabs? And how much effort did you need in building and growing your account to start approaching brands?
Okay, so we approached brands right from the beginning. Our first collab was with around, I think, 300 followers, 400 followers. This was a paid collab with a hotel. And from then on, we prioritized pitching to brands. We didn't wait for them to come to us. We put ourselves out there. So we looked into everything there is, how to write a message on Instagram, and how to find out in this message who is the right contact person for a collaboration. So that's the first step. We still do this. When we reach out to brands, we send them a message through Instagram, and just a quick message, who we are, etc. And when we had a smaller audience, we didn't position ourselves as influencers, but we position ourselves as content creators to create, for example, UGC content that we don't post on our account, but the brand itself can post on their account. Brands need content that looks authentic. They usually don't have the time to do this all by themselves. And not all brands or hotels have social media managers or content creators. So this is where you can step in. But to do this, you need to work on your content. So yeah, this would be the main thing that we did in the first 2 years. We worked on the quality of our content and created a media kit where we put in a few examples of hotels we stayed at, or even things we had at home, backpacks we had at home. We created content for that, and then we slowly got more and more collabs. Perhaps we say one thing about this: if you're just starting out, it can be a good idea to do an exchange collaboration. So stay at a hotel, if hotels is something you're interested in, stay at a hotel and give them content in exchange for these 2 nights. But what we also would like to say is that we would never ever recommend to do this more than 1 or 2 times, because essentially what you're going to do when you work for free for a hotel is that you pay with your time, because it's a lot of work to create this content. It's not as enjoyable and glamorous as it sometimes seems. And also, depending on the country you're living in and the tax laws, you have to pay taxes on this stay at the hotel. And that means when we did this, we had essentially pay money to be able to work for a hotel. So I know there's a lot of ads on Instagram promoting how to travel for free and how to live in or stay in this beautiful hotel for free. But have this in mind, we wouldn't recommend it. Plus, it really harms the industry too, because we all want to get compensated for the work we do, and you definitely should get compensated for the work you do as a content creator. So try to limit this and pitch yourself as content creators and charge your rates. Does this answer the questions, or did I start to ramble?
I think you're doing really well. Another like a follow-up question is, how do you make sure that you still continue monetizing your account, but don't make your account seem too salesy, so that you don't have too many, posts that are connected to a brand deal, but still make sure that you earn and take on collabs so that you can do it properly?
That's a very good question. So we're really selective about our brand partnerships. You don't often see brand partnerships on our account, just with brands and tools we really like, because essentially we don't see our community as a community we want to sell to just for the sake of selling. We want to give them value and make their lives and their travels easier. And that's why we are working only with brands or tools we really like. And then what's important to know in our case is that we position ourselves as travel bloggers. So you find a lot of travel destinations and tips and best things to do and see on our account. And we are reaching out to tourism boards mostly and travel agencies. And this is something I think doesn't, it's nicer, or it's easier, or let's just say it fits our community's needs and interests. And that's really important. Whenever you work with a brand, don't just do this because you're eager to earn money. I know this is a big goal and that's very valid, and you can earn money with that, but try to really know your audience's needs, and then it won't feel to them like you're selling constantly something new that they don't really need or they are not interested in.
As we have 2 more minutes, I have to apologize that we cannot go through all the questions. I'm going to ask one more that has been repeated, since you guys are also maintaining a blog. If you're a beginner and want to start blogging, how would you approach it?
Okay.
So it depends a bit on how experienced you are regarding the technical stuff. If you have some knowledge about blogging in WordPress, for example, then it's can be a good point to start from the beginning. But if you want to get all the knowledge about it before creating the first post, it's a lot of time you have to invest. So
yes, you have to invest a lot of time. It takes, so just to be realistic, it took us 1.5 years to get the blog up and running. We did everything ourselves from scratch. We didn't have any knowledge in WordPress or anything, or SEO or anything. It took us 1.5 years. So first of all, if you're thinking about blogging, really make sure that you like to write. Don't just start a blog because you think it's a cool income source or income stream, because it takes a lot of time and is not something to make quick money. But if you have a passion for writing and if you want to give more detailed travel guides, it's great. It's so much fun. And then I would say learn from others that are where you would like to be. There are lots of travel bloggers who have their own courses and show you how to build a blog from scratch. And then another thing, if you're not really good at the technical side, you can also get help from freelancers. But I would also always recommend to try to build yourself the knowledge to just have a broad.
Then it's easier later to adjust some things you want to change. And then you don't have to pay for several things.
Exactly. You don't have to do everything yourself, but a blogging course would be the start, I would say.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much. We're at the end of the time that we have right now, but I saw all the questions that you guys have sent, and I logged a lot of the things that you guys still want to learn about, especially around monetization and building a partnership with other brands and figuring out how to set budgets when you're starting out and so forth. So I'll make sure that in our next workshop, we address some of these issues, but you can, not issues, but questions, but feel free to give us feedback after this workshop. There'll be a survey, so you can also add the topics that you want to see next from us. Also, another highlight, next week, Wednesday, we're doing a networking session. So it's a bit of a different format than the workshops. It's always with a small group of people, so up to 25 people, where you can chat and interact with each other and see each other on camera and have a discussion rather than a keynote. So I encourage you, if you haven't signed up already, to quickly snatch the last spots there. You can find it on Portal. And yes, to wrap it up, first, thank you, Laura and Patrik, so much for the presentation. It was really lovely. I hope everybody else had value out of this. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you all at the next sessions.
Thank you so much for being here and listening to us. And again, I really hope, and we really hope that this was valuable for us, for you, for us.
For
it
us
was.
too.
That's also okay.
Yeah, and if you have any questions you would like to ask us, then feel free to drop us a message or a voice message on our Instagram. We will get back to all of those questions. We'd be happy to hear from you. And yeah, perhaps we speak soon. Thank you, Irina, for organizing everything.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for participating. Have a lovely evening or day, depending on where you are, and enjoy and see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.